In this video, we're setting off on an unforgettable journey across the loneliest road in America, Highway 50 in Nevada. Dubbed this title by Life magazine in the 1980s because of its remote stretches and sparse population, this route cuts through Nevada's vast open landscapes. With rugged mountains, historic ghost towns, and endless horizon, it's a road that offers true solitude and a sense of adventure that's hard to find anywhere else. Here we are on the border of Nevada to drive the loneliest road again.
4 years after the first time we did it.
All right, Pops, let's head out.
And it's still lonely here.
We started on the border of Utah and Nevada, and basically all that's there is a gas station. Inside of the gas station is a small slots area, a pool table, a couple arcade games, and a couple play area things for kids outside. This is also where you can get one of the stamps for the passport book, but unfortunately there was no one there to stamp ours. Beginning our remote drive into Nevada, we decided to stop at the Baker Archaeological Site. This area protects a site known as the Baker Village, which was excavated in 1991 and which has been linked to the Fremont people, a pre-Columbian archaeological culture. There's a trail map that you can borrow, and it's about a quarter of a mile walk out to the main site. Here's what this site looks like from above.
You're standing in the center of the village next to the big house. The surprising thing that the excavation discovered was the complexity and apparent planning our village layout suggests.
The other thing you can see in remote Baker, Nevada is Great Basin National Park. The road up to the main sites closes in the wintertime though, and it was late in the day, so we didn't get to drive up there. You can see more videos on my channel on Great Basin if you're interested though. As you leave Baker and you head towards the town of Ely, you'll immediately notice why this road got its name. There's nothing out here other than beautiful views, as the road loosely follows the historic Pony Express Trail. We'll cover the Pony Express more later, but the views out here and going over passes over 7,000 feet are the reason I was excited to drive it for a second time. It's about an hour from Baker to Ely, but about 45 minutes into the drive, be sure to look out for the sign that points you towards the Charcoal Oven State Park. Pops, get off the road! Get back in the car! We got things we gotta do, Pops!
Really? How do you like my earrings?
Once you turn off of Highway 50, it's about 5 miles down a dirt road and then another mile down another dirt road to get to the state park. And while this is probably not the loneliest road in America anymore, it's still pretty remote, and outside of the main cities, you're not going to see a lot of people.
So these were built in the mid-1870s. They were used to produce charcoal for the smelting of ore, and 5 to 6 acres of trees was used to fill one of these kilns. Ultimately, these trees were completely stripped from these hills, it says in the information. But obviously they came back. These things are really cool on the inside. Oh, listen to that echo. That's awesome.
It's pretty incredible how well preserved these are. I've seen a lot of these kilns as I've traveled around, and I think these are the best preserved ones I've ever seen. Surrounding the kilns, there's also a couple of trails that you can take, or you can just walk around and explore as much as you'd like before heading on. Do note that there's a $10 fee to enter this park, and it's cash only. And with that, we have about 45 minutes to get to Ely, where we're spending the night. The drive into Ely was uneventful with just a little bit of rain, and we got to our first stop right before it closed. We've made it with on and off rain on the way into our first town, and we're stopping at the White Pine Museum. The White Pine Museum is one of the best for keeping the history of Eastern Nevada and has everything from American Indian heritage to Pony Express history. You never think you would see a Titanic sinks newspaper in Ely. There it is. This is the main thing you want to see while you're here, the giant short-faced bear they have. This bear used to roam North America and weighed up to 1,500 pounds, and some believe that it's over 10,000 years old. Alright, who do you think would win? Pops or the giant bear, the cave bear? Let us know in the comments.
He's got a bigger fist than me.
That's the only issue you have. Other than that, you'd be good?
I would say, hey, look over there!
Don't just visit the inside though, there are a lot of exhibits to see on the outside of the museum as well. The cool thing about this route is both the Pony Express and the Lincoln Highway history. You're basically driving along both while you're driving it. This depot was built in 1906 and served the area for 40 years. This was the Cherry Creek Railroad Depot, which sat about 53 miles north of Ely. Cherry Creek now is just a ghost town, but in 1990, a local elementary school raised $11,000 to move the historic structure here. This is one of the oldest cabins in Ely. It was built in the 1880s. That's what's so cool about this museum is that you can just walk around and you can see so many historic artifacts that have all been preserved and kept on display for you to see here. Alright, I'm gonna find Pops who got stuck looking at old pictures, and then we're gonna either head back to the hotel or go explore depending on what the rain does. After saying goodbye to the museum, there's a thrift store that was still open, so we popped in to grab some shoes for the shoe tree tomorrow. Alright, I think I'm gonna go with these. And then we headed over to the historic Hotel Nevada, which was our home base for the rest of the night.
What's up? Welcome to our epic room. Look at this beautiful kitchenette area, 2 couches, gorgeous
A TV for me to beat you in video games later.
Only we're talking about important things. Gorgeous view of the mountains. And then you come in here, we got these 2 great beds. Across the street is downtown right here in front of us. Not bad at all.
And the best part is that it was $95 tonight. How do you beat that?
Yep.
Let's go get something to eat. When you leave the hotel, be sure to check out their Walk of Fame, showcasing some of the people who have stayed here since it opened in 1929. Jimmy Stewart, Ingrid Bergman, Wayne Newton, President Lyndon B. Johnson. And then across the street from the hotel, there's a few different casinos, one which had a very unique dinner spot that we decided to try. So Pops found us this dinner place where you eat inside of a cell block.
Yeah.
Looks like you eat fancy inside of a cell block,
Nice,
though.
yeah.
We were the only people here, and it was a little bit pricier than I anticipated, so we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. You notice how when I let Pops pick, we're eating in the cell block and we're eating $50 steaks?
Gotta take my opportunity when I get it. I'm not offered it very often. So.
I love places like this, and I just kept getting up to explore as it was so cool to see how they'd created these different rooms inside of the cell blocks. I went with Mediterranean chicken, and Pops went with some type of steak. What'd you get?
Filet.
There's a lot of food on this table. They give you a lot here. Salad and bread and all the sides. I have to say, Ely is coming through. I did not expect to have this good of a meal while sitting in a cell block in the middle of nowhere, Nevada.
Yeah, this filet is fabulous. One of my best I've ever had. I think it's really excellent.
So hopefully if you come here, it's 2 thumbs up, but it definitely is from Pops and I. And after that fantastic meal, our first day on the Loneliest Road is done. We'll see you tomorrow. If you're staying at the Hotel Nevada like we were, don't miss the opportunity to go out and see it at night. There's just something epic about seeing the neon lights like this, and it reminds me of what I would think that old school Vegas would have looked like. Starting our day at my favorite museum on this stretch of the road, the Nevada Northern Railway Museum. We are riding a train this morning.
I think this is awesome to be able to ride a train, especially in these hills, deserty hills. It'd be cool.
And here's our train that we're taking up into the mountains. Known as the Nevada Northern Railway Complex, this site is supposedly one of the best preserved early 20th century railroad yards in the nation. If you decide to ride the train like us, be sure to give yourself some time to explore the museum before it leaves, including seeing the statue of Dirt the cat, a loved cat who used to hang out in the engine shop. This room is exactly the way it was left in 1983. We spent some time exploring the upper and lower floor, and then we just walked around the exterior while waiting for our train to board. Look who's driving our train today. Conductor Pops.
There'll be no horseplay on this train.
Here's where we started yesterday. Here's where we're at right now to ride the train, and then today we're going all the way over to here. Right on time, our conductor called all aboard and we were able to enter the train and find our spot. Get your pick of the whole train, Pops.
Yeah.
There's only like 10 people on our entire 3 train car adventure today, so we basically got the place to ourselves.
It's nice to be able to sit outside. It'll be hot, but it'll be nice.
That bell signals that we are leaving. Look at that primo spot right there. Depending on when you're here, they have all sorts of different train rides that you can pick from. They have a Santa ride at Christmas, they have a 4th of July fireworks train, they have sunset trains, haunted ghost trains. There's a lot of different adventures that you can go on. Ours was just an excursion train ride on one of their diesel trains, and we went out towards Valley Vista. During certain days of the week, they actually take a steam train out, and that would be a really cool one to ride on, but that's not what we had when we were here. This is so cool. It really does feel like you're in the Old West, just going out through the country. I don't know, I'm really into it. Look at Pops just living his best life back there. Are you still living your best life out here?
This is fantastic. So we're reading the book The Virginian as we go, and they talk about riding the train. This is what the West would look like, except for the power lines. So it's really fun to experience that. It's like stepping back in history or something.
Our train did about 45 minutes out towards the town of McGill before turning around and heading back the way we came.
They ran this train line until 1978, and that's when the mine stopped, and then they stopped using it as much.
Depending on how much time you have to do this drive, this is a longer excursion to do, but both my dad and I loved being able to see something historic like this and to be able to experience it firsthand. 90 minutes later, we were arriving back at the train station, and if you want to, they'll actually give you a guided tour of the engine room. Because of how many stops we had to do today, we decided not to go on the tour, but we did go walk in and explore it a little bit ourselves. This is the one that we were so impressed with last time we came here. It's the snowplow train.
This is a cool spot to be for so many levels, but I wish I could tell you how it smells. It smells like an old diesel work area. It's really cool.
It's just amazing to be able to see inside of some of these trains and to see them actually working on it. You never see anything like that. I mean, look at this one. It basically is hollowed out, it has no wheels, and they're working on bringing it back to life, which is so cool. Such a fun and relaxing morning. The train really didn't go out to anywhere, but it was just incredible to see the landscape and to feel that kind of Old West vibe, and then seeing the machine shop afterward and seeing them working on the trains. This is just a really great stop.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. You guys know I love the Old West stuff, and it gave you that feel that you were going through this kind of untouched country headed towards somewhere in the Old West on a train. It's really cool.
And now we're heading out on the Loneliest Road. As you say goodbye to Ely, which is probably the largest town on the Loneliest Road outside of Carson City, it's about an hour and 15 minutes of remote wilderness before you make it to Eureka. During this section, you'll pass by the remains of some mining claims. You may see a Lincoln Highway sign along the road, but basically it's just horizon that stretches out endlessly in front of you, broken by rugged mountains and the occasional summit that you pass over. As you approach the town of Eureka, driving down from one of the many summits, note the grade of the road that you're driving at, and note that this can be a pretty dangerous area to drive in the winter, especially if there's snow or ice. We've made it to Eureka, one of the main towns along the route, and this is the famous hotel where Pop saw a ghost.
I did not see a ghost. You can look at that in a different video when we talk about that. But
up here. The town of Eureka is a cool spot to stop as there's a lot of historic things that you can do here. It's also a great place to get a hotel if you want to break up the trip. Pops, we got our survival guides again. We survived once. You think we'll survive the second time?
it's hard to say.
The first time we did this drive, we actually got these in the mail before we came all the way out here, but this time we picked one up at the courthouse and started the stamping process.
This thing is really fun. This is something that should be done with the Lincoln Highway.
I agree. We had one on Route 66 too, remember?
We did.
Unfortunately, the stamp book was a little bit more difficult this time as there was a couple places that said they had stamps, but they were only open like one day a week. Pops is over there waiting for them to hear his case. This courthouse is incredible to see as it's still in use and it was built in 1880. My favorite place to visit in Eureka is the Opera House, which is right across the street from the courthouse. Fortunately, the Opera House is closed until August 1st, so we're not able to see it. The Opera House is incredible though, and something you definitely want to see, so I'll play some clips from last time we were here. The Opera House was built in 1880 and the structure was fully restored in 1993. It's been many things over the years, including a motion picture hall in 1915 and even a community center for the town during the mining boom era. Now it's mostly used as a convention center and it can hold around 300 people. Leaving the Opera House, the town felt a lot more dead than it did when we came through here 4 years ago, but we were able to find one more business open. Our last order of business is the Eureka Depot, a coffee shop that opened since last time we went through. This coffee shop had a large dining area, and I was told that it's used for meetings by many of the locals. It was poppin' when we went, with a dozen people there and a couple different people working behind the counter. That's a really great spot. They make all their own syrups, which is surprising to find in a remote Nevada town. Plus the people there are incredibly friendly. It did say on the Eureka sign that it's the friendliest town on the loneliest road, and I have to say everybody we've met has been very friendly. Heading on towards Austin. Leaving Eureka, it's about an hour and 10 minutes to get to the next small town of Austin. Along the way, there are some hot springs that you can go and soak in, but unfortunately for us, the road was washed out and it hadn't been repaired yet, so we weren't able to make it there. Check it out, there's a heart in the clouds right there. Do you see it? It's on its side. Do you see it, Pops?
Barely. It is kind of sideways.
After entering the town of Austin, the first thing you'll see is the Gridley's store, which was built in 1863. The building has a unique history which comes from a story about a sack of flour which was sold for donations to the Sanitary Fund, a Civil War forerunner of the American Red Cross. The flour sack was sold over and over again throughout Nevada and California, and it ended up raising $275,000. I was actually excited to see this building open as it was closed last time we came through here, and now it's a town library, which is a really cool way to update an old building but to keep it for the town to enjoy, so that was fun to see. Driving into the town of Austin, we were greeted with more of what we had come to expect on the Loneliest Road in 2024. Basically places that felt abandoned and that were no longer in operation. This looks like at some point in time it was a welcome center or it's becoming one, but there's definitely nobody you can talk to right now. There are a whole bunch of things you can off-road to if you're interested. Going down this road where the hot springs was, it was closed when we came, but I'm sure that's not always the case. We're heading into the courthouse to try to find somewhere to stamp our survival guide. Luckily for us, the courthouse was open and was able to get us our stamps. And here is what the historic Austin courthouse looks like. So that's about all that's open today in Austin, other than the castle that we're going to go to right now. And note, when people say that we travel and things are not open, everything could even say it's open and not be open on roads like this. So you see what you can see and you just make the most of it. Luckily, on the outskirts of Austin, there's one of the most unique historic sites you can see along the route, and it's always there.
Stokes Castle was built by a guy named Anson Stokes, who was a wealthy banker and also silver miner. This place was a huge place for silver in the late 1800s. In 1897, he had this place built. It was based on a place that he'd seen outside of Rome, and this is like an exact copy of a tower that he saw outside of Rome. It says the family lived here for 1 month. And then later came back a couple times, but then ended up selling it when he sold all his interest in silver mining and never really came back ever again. It's now privately owned, and it's really kind of in disrepair. This is about the best you can do is see it from the outside. As you can see, one of the best things about this spot are these vistas that supposedly you can see as far away as like 100 miles.
There was a fence around the structure, but there was a huge hole cut out of it, so you were able to walk right in and see the inside if you wanted to. I don't know if they'll leave this open or if they're going to come and close it up. There's also an old piece of mining equipment out on the hillside. I was kind of hoping this would look different in the last 4 years since we've been here, maybe a little bit more restored, but it is exactly the same. As we were leaving Stokes Castle, someone told us that the Little Blue Bird Turquoise shop was open, so we headed back into the town to go see it. According to the website, this is an art gallery and a shop, and it uses turquoise that's mined from around the local area. Honestly, I was pretty impressed. It was a cool place to walk around, and the prices were reasonable for what they were selling. Check it out, there's an anaconda that's 20 feet long, the skin of an anaconda in here. This is an incredibly cool spot with lots of different rocks, and I'm getting some geodes for my kids to break open. So if you're driving the Loneliest Road and looking for a unique gift or souvenir, hopefully this is open when you come through. Leaving Austin, it's about an hour drive to our next stop at Middlegate Station. Along the way though, there's some interesting Pony Express history that you can see and that I definitely recommend stopping at. This is known as Rock Creek or Cold Springs Station, and it was operated from 1861 to 1869. Here, Pony Express riders could find a place to sleep, they could get fresh horses, there was blacksmith services here, and even wagon repair facilities. When the line was abandoned in 1869, then this spot went along with it, and basically all you can see now are just the remains of some of the rock structures. As we approached Middlegate Station, it was time for another cherished tradition, the shoe tree.
Last time we did this, we took 3 to 4 tries each. I think we're gonna do better this time. What are you predicting?
I predict as bad or worse.
There it is, the infamous shoe tree. All right, I got my shoes to donate to the shoe tree. You got yours, Pops?
Look at this. Suede wingtips, orange soles, way better.
You should keep those. As the senior member of our group, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first, but I would like to say, first of all, this tree has done nothing to deserve this.
Are you going to throw it on the really easy one, or are you going to try to throw it at the high one? That high up there? Look at Babe Ruth calling his shot.
I said, I don't want to do the walk of shame down here. You know, I could just go like this.
That's what I'd expect from you. That didn't even go anywhere near the tree.
I'm trying to go up there.
All right, let's see. Oh!
Yeah! Look at that. Great spot. You can see them. That was good. There's no competition here. Let's see how the B team does now.
Going for this right here, which looks like it probably is not a good idea.
Well, at least it'll be easy to retrieve right down here when you miss. Okay. What's your comment on my first row?
Oh, that was so close.
It wasn't close at all. It bounced off the bottom. If you can't beat me, he's going to throw them at me.
Oh!
Not a bad shot. Look
better
here.
than yours.
Hopefully gets where we can see it.
All right, let us know in the comments if Pop's throwing it at the leaves and taking the easy approach in 2 shots, or my more difficult approach in 3 shots is better.
Yeah, do that.
All right, now it's time to get the monster burger. Also, props to anyone who got it that high up in the tree. That is very impressive. You're playing at a different level than Pops and I. I had no idea whether the shoe tree would still be a thing, but I was surprised to still see it going strong. If I had to bet, there was probably 300 to 400 shoes here. From there, it was about a 5-minute drive to our next stop and one of our favorites on the entire Loneliest Road, Middlegate Station.
We're doing one of our favorite stops. We stopped at the Middlegate bar right here in order to get a monster burger. Wait till you see this burger. It's incredible.
Welcome to Middlegate, the middle of nowhere, elevation 4,600, population 17. They crossed out the 18. Middlegate Station really does feel like an oasis in the middle of the Loneliest Road. And what this place is known for is something called the Middlegate Monster. We didn't add $1 last time we were here, or else we could search for it, so we're adding $1 this time. Beautiful. All right. They said that Pops could have a ladder, but as you can tell, he can reach it without even trying. All right, if you want to find our $1, head over to this corner and then just look up right there. While we were working on decorating our $1, they were working on creating the monstrosity that we were about to eat.
So Josh does drone shots. Here is a cheeseburger drone shot. There you go.
Beautiful. It's way easier too.
Just as easy, just as good as his drone shot.
Check it out. It's got eyes, nose, and the tomato is a mouth. It is a legit monster. That is so amazing. And here's Pops demonstrating.
It's as big as my head. Look at this monster. Pop's on the right. Or the left. I don't know.
Yeah, Pops on the right.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to attack this.
Oh man. That was a strong bite right there. Did you get any meat though?
That is delicious. You could think that this is just some gimmick, you know, that it's so huge. but it is delicious. We were shocked the last time about how good it is too, and once again, fabulous.
I agree. You don't even have to take our word for it. If you look at the Google reviews, this place has fantastic reviews, and it's in the middle of nowhere. The burgers are that good and well worth coming for. But you only need one for 2 big men, so you might even need one for 3 to 4 people.
Could do that.
Monster burger! After getting through as much of the burger as we possibly could, it was time to say goodbye to Middlegate Station and continue the road trip. Also, in case you're wondering, they do have an electric car charger here. I don't know how well it works, but they have one. There's some cool opportunities for pictures here, including a great Loneliest Road sign and a sign that says both the Lincoln Highway and the Pony Express historic route. For us though, we just continued west towards Sand Mountain Recreational Area, which is about 25 minutes drive away. Again, this is remote with a couple passes that you go over, but I think this is a cool part of the section, seeing the sand dunes come into view and seeing the salt flats out in front of you. If you're interested in off-roading, then Sand Mountain Recreation Area seems like it'd be a pretty incredible place for that. But for us, we just drove up, took a couple pictures, and then backtracked to go see the Pony Express ruins. If you're looking for the best preserved Pony Express site, this is the best one that we found last time we were here. From where you park, it's about a 10-minute walk out to the ruins themselves. So here's what this structure looks like from above, and then you can see the remains of the walls right in front of me. The station was built in 1860 and it was used until 1861 when the telegraph replaced it. Most of the other Pony Express sites along the route are not open and you can only see them through a fence. But what I like about this one is that it's completely open and that you can walk in, walk through where the different rooms were, and get a better understanding of what life would have been like. That sign back there has a diary from one of the people who actually visited here. He said life at the station was not bad, it was wretched. There's lots of Pony Express history on the route, but if you want the best example of something that you can still see, this is definitely what we found to be it. As we left the area and headed towards Fallon, we encountered a big dust storm, and I thought it was pretty interesting, so I wanted to play the full time lapse here. It's crazy to just see it come out of nowhere and then to basically have no visibility for a little bit before it opened back up. This is our last stop of the day. We're gonna see if we can do it before the rain comes in over there. It's Grimes Point Archaeological Area.
Look how beautiful it is over there with the rain coming down. So cool.
It's really hard to beat a desert sunset. Hopefully that video of the time lapse going through the storm looked as good as it looked to us while we were driving it. The hike along Grimes Point is a true gem on this drive, as it's amazing to be able to see how many petroglyphs they have on this short trail. It's less than a mile round trip, but along the way, keep your eyes peeled as you'll see them on many of the different rocks, especially when you get to the top area and start doing the loop. Here's some examples of the different ones that you can see on the trail. I mean, I'm assuming these are all the older ones. Pretty cool. It's hard for me to ever know whether these are legit petroglyphs or whether there's something that somebody did more recently, but I did read that the ones on the dark rocks are supposed to be older, and it's just cool to wander around and see them all. Right near the end of the trail, it says ensuring success, and I think this is probably the best one that we've seen on the whole trail. Epic way to end the day, exploring and finding petroglyphs, seeing the lightning, and just enjoying the beautiful desert sunset. That's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Even though I said we were done, we actually decided that we wanted to spend a little bit more time sitting and watching the lightning, and we were trying to command a lightning strike perfectly so we could get a video. Oh, that was pretty close. It was right when you turned around, it didn't. I don't know. I think Pops might have got it on that last one. You wouldn't believe how many times we tried to do that.
We were enjoying watching the lightning and the rain come down until we got to our hotel, and there's no power in our hotel. Eventful day.
After about 2 hours sitting in the dark, the power did eventually come on, and that was the end of our second day on the Loneliest Road. We woke up the next morning and started our day by going to Stone Cabin Coffee. This is not what I expected to see in Fallon, and I loved every minute of it with all of the different animals in an old log cabin and great coffee to go along with it.
I do want to note that this is also where the Top Gun school is. I tried to see if there's anything I could do related to that here, and I can't without base access, but it is cool to note that the Top Gun school is here. Grabbed our stamps from City Hall, and we were heading out to finish our time on the Loneliest Road.
From Fallon to Carson City, which is basically the end of the Loneliest Road, it's only about an hour drive. Because of that, we decided to take a detour and head up to Virginia City to explore a little bit, as we loved that place last time we came through here. We've made it to Virginia City. First stop, the Comstock Lode, and then we're gonna go explore and see what we can find. There's gold in them there hills. We started our time in Virginia City by heading to the Way It Was Museum. Apparently at one point in time in the city, they had a wildcat versus a dog fight. I think would win, a wildcat or a dog?
Depends on the dog and how big the dog was. It's really unique. This is one of the first chemical-based fire extinguishers, and it said it combined an acid and bicarbonate of soda as a way to kind of knock these flames down that were in the mines.
Even though the museum's small, it has a lot of information about the town's past, including great artifacts, photos, and lots of mining equipment you can see. This is an underground exact scale model of all of the different shafts, criss-cuts, drifts, and inclines of the mine. I don't know how much Pops wants to do this before we get some coffee, but how can you miss this opportunity?
Sometimes when you're digging deep, you will unearth a monster. I first saw one of these in Joshua Tree. This was a way of breaking up the ore, where you'd put the ore on the ground and have a big rock here, and as the animal went around in the circle, the rock falling on top of it would be a way to break up the rock. That's before they had like the stamping machines that you see where they really crunched it.
After leaving the museum, we headed out to explore the main downtown street, which is often voted one of the top 10 historic main streets in America. For us, our first stop was the roasting houses. It had been a long road trip and we needed a second cup of coffee for the morning. All right, our coffee is coming so we can recharge, but if you want to, there's an awesome view out in the back and a great place to sit. Yay. 14 days with you is a little too much to handle without coffee.
Pretty much, same feeling here.
After we got our second win with another cup of coffee, we headed out to explore the rest of the town, starting with the Bucket of Blood Saloon, which has been here since 1876. While the name of the saloon sounds a little sinister, the bar couldn't be anything further from that. It's a charming spot that feels like you walked into history, and it has a lot of different tables and often has live music on the weekends. It was too early for us to get a drink, but it was still cool to be able to pop into it. This is just a cool town. There's so much history, so many interesting things to do. It's good for pictures. It's just a fun place to spend a little bit of time. Across the street, you'll find the Delta Saloon, which is home to the Suicide Table, another interesting antique in Virginia City. You can read the full story of the table online, but basically there were 3 different people who died based on the results of the gambling that happened on this table. Following that, the last main thing you'll want to stop into is the Silver Queen. Here you can see the 15-foot Silver Queen, which has 3,261 Comstock silver dollars in it. Look at this amazing thing made out of silver coins. Wow. While we could have spent a lot more time in Virginia City, we had a few more things we needed to see before the end of the day, and so we took the 30-minute drive back to Highway 50.
Oh my gosh, stop! The desert, the octopus of the desert is still there. Look at that octopus. You need to count the legs.
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it still does not look like an octopus. It's a cactus.
It's so
look at it. Come on, that looks like a cactus. It doesn't look like an octopus, right?
A big barrel cactus. Have you ever seen a big barrel cactus look like that? That doesn't look like any cactus.
Lots of times.
Never.
Apparently it used to be part of something called the Oasis restaurant, but no longer. Help me prove Pops wrong and let us know whether it's an octopus or a cactus in the comments. Near the cactus octopus of the desert, there's a town called Dayton. We made it to Dayton, which is the site of the first gold discovery in Nevada in 1849. We tried to find something to do in Dayton, but unfortunately most of it was either out of business or not open when we went, so we just continued on to Carson City. We started our time in Carson City by heading over to the US Mint Building, which is where we learned about the Lincoln Highway on our first drive through the Loneliest Road.
The Lincoln Highway, the first marked coast-to-coast federal highway. Now US 50 in San Francisco, 30 in Salt Lake City, and 1 in Philadelphia.
In case you didn't know, this video is part of our Lincoln Highway drive where we went from New York all the way to San Francisco, so when that's up, I'll link to it in the description.
There's a lot of Pony Express stuff to see here as well, which is cool based on what we've been driving.
The Carson City Mint Building is now part of the Nevada State Museum, which is one of my favorite museums in this area. Last time I was in this museum, I told Pops to watch out for this beaver because he had bloody teeth. And lots of people told me that beavers have iron on their enamel and that's what leads to the red. So not bloody, iron. Yep, I do read YouTube comments and I saw probably 150 comments about the bloody teeth beaver I mentioned in the first video. If you're interested in mining or Nevada state history at all, then this spot should definitely be on your list. The exhibits here are fantastic and really well laid out. This is coin press number 1 and it minted its first coin February 11th, 1870 and was the only coin press in operation for the first 5 years. If you come at the right time on the weekends, you can actually see them continuing to use this to mint coins. The last thing you should see at the museum is to go all the way down into the basement and go into the mining exhibit. Do you notice who's not with me right now? Yeah, the bottom floor of this museum is a mining museum, and I didn't even remember, but Pops remembered when he came to this museum. He said, that's the one with the mining exhibit down in the bottom, and he did not want to come down. This is a cool exhibit. It really feels like you're in a mine. Props to the museum for making it and for scaring Pops into not coming down. That's an incredible museum. It's very interactive because great exhibits, lots of history. We have one more thing we're gonna do before we end our time on the Loneliest Road.
Well, the last stop on our Loneliest Road trip is the Nevada State Capitol building.
We didn't do this the first time we came through Carson City, and I love seeing the state capitol building, so I wanted to make sure I saw it on this trip. This is an old building that's still in use and it was built in 1869. Here's the Capitol building we're in right now. There's no access to the dome part, but it's still a cool old building. Nevada is battle-born. It enters the Union during the Civil War. It's interesting that they moved the Senate and the legislature down the street a little bit, and so they made that into a museum. That's pretty cool. This Elkhorn chair was used by Teddy Roosevelt when he visited the Capitol in 1903. This is one of the smaller Capitol buildings, and it's pretty easy to see it in about 30 minutes.
That's it for our drive along the Loneliest Road, Highway 50 in Nevada.
And I'm putting together a video on the Loneliest Road as well, so should you be interested in that, come check it out on my channel.
We'll see you on the next one.
This was part of our 2-week journey along the Lincoln Highway from New York to California, and when that's up, I will link to it here. We'll see you on the next one.